This is an Audio Wool original.
So Byron, about almost 2 years ago now, Sam and I were getting ready for a really fun birthday trip that we took for me.
Did
my birthday. We did a whole amazing road trip, which I'm ready to do again, through the biggest hits. Roswell, Sedona, Area 51. It was great. Leading up to it, we were doing some research, checking out places we really wanted to see. And I had heard stories about this place down in Arizona near Sedona Ranch called the Bradshaw Ranch.
Of course.
It's supposed to be kind of like a mini skinwalker, right? And some of the videos that we found online, there was this gentleman who called himself Hoodoo Tall. And he was on the ground doing investigation of this place. Very interesting guy, very well-spoken, a very kind presence, which I'm, you get some aggro, weird folks in this space sometimes. And we loved him. Ended up going and exploring Bradshaw Ranch ourselves, et cetera, et cetera. Fast forward, we're at Contact in the Desert. Sam and I are, in the lobby chatting with some people. Around the corner pops Hoodoo Tall. And of course, that's where you would run into Hoodoo Tall, is a Contact in the Desert.
Is he?
He is tall. He's not as tall as Sam Tall.
Okay.
But he's tall. So
Hoodoo above average.
He is. We talked to him. He was incredibly gracious. Me, Byron, I'm like my whole filter absence, right?
Everyone's your favorite person.
Well, I really like people, and I'm not afraid of looking like a weirdo or looking stupid.
Yeah.
Right? So that leads to me scaring Jeremy Corbell.
Say, it could really, it's intimidating.
It leads to, with Hoodoo Tall, because he matched my vibe, Byron. He was so kind.
Yeah.
He, one of his logos, kind of affiliated with his presence, is Baby Raven.
Yeah.
He actually we told him that we've shown some of his videos to our daughters. He ran back upstairs to grab Baby Raven pins for us to take back to the girls.
Just a great guy.
Such a nice guy. One of the things I told him, and I really do mean this, we show our kids some weird shit, obviously, but his background story is one that I really like to share with the girls, because he is somebody with a really multifaceted background who came to this world in a very, hey, I'm interested in something, I'm going to go explore it sort of way, and is really pursuing his passion, making sure he's kind to others, and doing some really incredible work. He's actually becoming a louder and more heard voice, I would say, in this space, and has been brought on with a couple paranormal organizations that are doing research. There have been some really cool interviews he's done. Also, side note, he's a really cool artist. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, we had a really lovely conversation, and just a quick note, Sam also interviewed somebody completely separate from this regarding the Bradshaw Ranch. I think there's kind of interesting contrast between those two
Horseman,
interviews. But yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy listening to Juergen Hess, a.k.a. Hoodoo Tall, as much as I enjoyed speaking with him. I did read your dissertation. It's fantastic. It's really interesting. Oh God, Byron's going to murder me. I'm so sorry. I thought I had it off, Byron. It's the first time that's happened in 3 years. I'm really sorry. Your dissertation was super interesting. Oddly, in my other life, I do a bunch of educational stuff. I work with people going to college or trying to figure out what they want to do, if not go to college. And so it was really fun to dig in and read it. How long did it take you to go from Jurgen to Dr. Jurgen?
So, you mean education-wise, as far as going through the schooling? It was about...
Great question.
I actually did it in about 2.5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But the process of me as a person was, I don't know, 20 years.
Right. That's there's so much in there that I kind of want to get to, but trying to go a little bit in order, because it sounds like what led you to Sedona originally was your connection with John Lear and information connected to Rendlesham Forest. So for our listeners, can you give us just kind of that first chapter of your story, how that connection began? Sure. And I don't know how many of our listeners know, they've listened to me rattle about Art Bell for years, but I don't know how many of them know that John Lear is the only reason that Art Bell was anything other than Rush Limbaugh. So...
Yeah, that's a great and funny thing. I didn't know that Art Bell started Coast to Coast because of John until after I was friends with John. He's the one who told me that. And I was like, dude, I already thought you were cool, but now, like I don't know. You know? And amazing. So, yeah, I met, I was really good friends with John about the last 15 years of his life. I would go out to Vegas where he lived and go to his house and spend time with him, mainly because I needed help or information. I felt like a crazy person. I started experiencing things I didn't know how to understand even. And, you know, I heard him on the radio and I was like, this guy seems to know stuff. And it was a roll of the dice. I was in Las Vegas one time and it was Sunday. I was about to go home, and John always said on the radio that, or even in forum that he would post in, that he's not hiding from anyone. He's listed in the white pages. And so, I bought some expensive cigars and I wanted to just leave them in John's mailbox. And
smart move.
I look up because I knew John smoked cigars. And so I get to the house listed in the white pages, and there's this giant fence around the house and there's no mailbox. And I'm like, okay, well, like, I'm not going to just huck these cigars over there. There's like $150 in cigars. So I decided, all right, I'm just going to call and see if he picks up. And I called, and it was surreal to me because that voice I had listened to so many times and was so familiar with answered the phone just saying hello. And yeah, you can imagine. And I was like, John, you don't know me. I said, I brought you some cigars. I said, I've spoken to you on the forum GLP, which was an old forum, Godlike Productions, that John was on. And he said, where did you talk to me? I said, GLP. And he said, you better come in. And he opened up the gates and drove into, the big U-shaped driveway and stuff, and spent like 6-7 hours with John that first day.
See, I think
and
that
blew my mind.
That alone is so interesting that he comes off to some people who haven't listened to a lot of his stuff as just so paranoid. But you think about a story like that, and to be able to understand even through the phone with you that quickly, okay, this is somebody who's authentically interested. He's not some weirdo. Yeah. Like, to have that much of a sense of a person's like intentions, that alone is just remarkable, especially in our world today, I feel.
And the funny thing is, John is in person, he is so much the opposite of what people think he is, or the way they talk about him. I'm like, so many people have the wrong opinion of the guy. There's this one thing that just came out as on Joe Rogan, where there's an interview, John at the end of his life saying that he and Bob Lazar were allowed to kind of do what they did. That somebody higher up allowed it to happen to test how the public would react. And I've heard people say, what do you think about John saying he was part of a psyop? And I'm like,
that's not what he said. Did you listen
at all to what? Yeah, I was like, no, he said he learned that the things they did were allowed to happen, that they weren't as sneaky as they thought they were, so it's kind of weird. In person, he was just the coolest guy I've ever met. He's so mellow. Like, he'd just sit there behind his desk, and at his desk he had like these 25 TV screens mounted to like this, big, and all these TV screens in front of him. And his office, it was probably 20 feet by 15 feet. It was a huge office, and it was just covered in photographs of the moon and Mars and all these weird things he had collected. And he would just sit there and just puff on his cigar, and we'd just chit chat, and he would still get really excited to talk about things. And so that's why I had fun hanging out with him, because we would both feel like kids hanging out together, even though there was one day, even in particular, I remember pointing out that he was exactly double my age at that year.
Oh, wow.
I think I was 36 and he was 70. There's something about that. But
wow.
And so I knew the UFOs were real. John had shown me so much, and John and Bob Lazar, they were the ones that really tried to open the world up to the idea of flying saucers. So I knew Bob Lazar wasn't lying because John wasn't lying to me. This isn't a radio show I was on. I was at John's house. He's just talking to his buddies. And so I wanted to see one. I was like, cool, they're real. Where can I need to see it. Like,
Right.
It's nice to know, but I want to know. So John told me the incident in Rendlesham happened. It was in 1980, U.S. base in the UK. And John said he knew guys at the base at the time, and he talked to them, and he said he knows that event really happened because he talked to the guys at the base. He said they weren't lying to me, and I said, I believe that. So I looked at that case, and you get a list of coordinates from that case. One of the gentlemen touched the craft, and this image of zeros and ones were burned into his mind, in his kind of vision. And so he wrote them down in a notebook, and the vision stopped. It was in 2010 that he showed it to somebody, and they recognized it as binary code, and they translated it, which resulted in a list of coordinates on the planet. The coordinates seem to feature ancient ruins, the pyramids in Giza, the Nazca lines in Peru, stuff like that. And then it lists Sedona, Arizona. So I thought, I want to go to one of these places. Conveniently, there's one close by. Sedona wasn't far. And I also thought maybe, if there's not an ancient monument there, maybe that's where we can see some UFOs. And that's why I came to Sedona originally.
Amazing.
Just because I thought, I'll just use the information the ETs provided,
And
I don't know where to see.
Did John have any connection there? Like, had he spent time there at all, or was that totally initiated by you?
No, he hadn't. John, it was his health. His legs and his feet were really bad. Oh. So when the time I became friends with him, he wasn't really able to even leave the house. And so I would come out here and get all these pictures and videos so I could take him to John's house and show him, like,
oh, wow,
my man, look what I'm getting out there. And I'll tell you this, it was so bad that at one point I used to customize cars back home, and I customized a car for a guy named Nigel Olson. He's Elton John's drummer. And they were fans of John Lear. So we were talking about John. And Elton offered John free tickets to come to a show in Vegas, send a limo to pick him up and everything. And John felt he couldn't make it. Oh my God. So his health really, really wasn't that good.
What a huge gift you gave him, though, to like show up when he felt so cut off from everything. I mean, I know he was a big mentor to you, but that was a two-way relationship. Like, that's huge for him to have that.
You gave me, I have a lot of goosebumps when you said that, and I've never sat and thought about it. I was so grateful to have time with him. I never sat to think about why he was giving it to me and why he was giving it to me for so long. I know that the best compliments I've ever received in life were things John said to me. Like, one of them was, I made a comment about how somebody tried to make a big deal out of something, and we all looked at it and it didn't seem to be a big deal. And so I called John and I said, hey, did you see that thing? He said, yeah, I saw it. He asked me, what'd you think? I said, I didn't think it was a big deal. And he said, you know what? To a couple old timers like us, it isn't a big deal. And the fact that John referred to me as an equal and an old timer like him. Oh my gosh. Oh, I was like sobbing. And then another day I called him to let him know I was going to come see him. And I was in the middle of the day and he was dead asleep. I could tell by his voice. He answered the phone and he was not doing well that day. And I asked if he thought it would be okay if I came to visit him. And he told me, he said, I'd really like that. He said, I feel my best when you come and sit here with me. That's
the best compliment another human could ever receive. That is, well, and even more so because there wasn't any calculated plan behind what you were doing, nor do I think there was behind what he was doing. Like, for two people who are that authentically curious and wanting to explore all of this, to connect and be able to share the same space, like, that really is pretty magical.
And lucky for me, John was a self-described blabbermouth. You know, he wanted to learn stuff because he wanted to tell people about what he was learning. And one of the things you got to know that's really important about him, and one of the things he taught me, is that as he learned something new, he let it change his opinion. And so you do need to be careful when you watch old videos of John when he's talking about the antenna on the moon that's catching souls. That was what he believed at the time, but he matured past that once he understood that wasn't necessarily the case. So there is some stuff John said a while ago that he didn't believe, toward the end.
What's funny about that is, I don't know, he would have called himself a scientist, but that is science, right? Like, you're supposed to make hypotheses with the data you have, and then as you build more data, you better be evolving your hypotheses, otherwise you're pretty shitty as a scientist. So we should be evolving. It's funny
you say that now, because I mean, I have parents and I have great parents, but John was this father figure to me still, because he's the one who taught me how to be the person I am. And he's the one who, the reason I'm out here with my feet on the ground trying to catch UFOs in a butterfly net, because he said that's how it's got to be done. And now that you mention it, I took the approach he taught me, and it yielded a Ph.D. out of it. So yeah, what he taught me to do was in fact a very scientific approach to it, which you don't see many people take. A lot of people, they have a concept they like, and they go out to try to prove that concept to be true. And that's not how you do it.
It drives me crazy because I see it on both ends too, right? Like, you see it, Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about how there's nothing to this, and then you talk about deep believers on the other end that have already come to their conclusions, and they just want data that validates it. And all the good stuff's happening between.
Yeah, and it's going to be tricky, and it's... The funny thing is, I don't think either one's wrong in this weird way. So, kind of as I was trying to understand what the UFOs are and what they're doing, and why the hell did Bigfoot show up when I was watching UFOs, and all these strange phenomena, they all seem to be just related. As I say in my dissertation, these things are all just fringe effects of this weird Earth experience we're having. And I think once we get off Earth again, once we earn our way out of here, I think we get a unique perspective that's incredibly hard to get while we're here. But I think you'll see that, like, Earth has, say, like a time sphere around it, a set of rules and regulations that apply to Earth and the souls on it. So the laws of physics that we've defined, those exist here for us. But, you go somewhere else, it's not how it works.
Right.
It works different there.
Right. So how long after, because for a while you went back and forth. You would visit Sedona, you'd go back home, you'd visit. How did this process evolve for you actually coming to feel like this is where you belonged permanently?
Still working on that, but I did move
for the time being. For the time being,
I don't know if I belong anywhere permanently yet. I'm hoping I belong here. We'll see. The coming on trips, so the first trip I saw a bunch of UFOs, and I thought, if I make another, I don't want to make another trip, because if I don't see any, that would suck.
Right.
So eventually, it took me a couple years to make my second trip. Made my second trip, saw more UFOs, and I thought,
wow.
Oh, okay, I didn't expect that. So I said, we're doing this every year. I had a couple friends that would come with me initially. That lasted 2 years. It's not easy to convince people to come camping with you when UFOs are flying over your tent. Like, that's what I'm doing out there, and people get weirded out. So I was fine with that, and I started coming alone.
Wow. See, I could go with people. I don't know that I could do the alone thing.
I didn't think I could either because I had crippling anxiety and I didn't think I could camp for one night alone by myself, let alone a week. But I decided that the chance to experience something might actually help my anxiety. Maybe my
So
anxiety is
brilliant.
caused by not having answers.
What a
And
brilliant
that
idea.
first trip I made alone was when the Bigfoot showed up.
Okay,
I
so
was just out hiking and these things were following me. I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is ridiculous. And so I was like, there's not monkeys in the 110-degree heat of the Arizona mountains. I'm sorry, there's not.
no.
And the more I've interacted with them, they're not. They're not even terrestrial. Those Bigfoots aren't from Earth. There's no way. I mean, they just do things that nothing else here can do. So they can walk through walls. They disappear right in front of you. This 2,000-pound thing can leave 4 footprints and follow you silently through dried leaves. Like, tell me how they do that, you know?
So I know that there are people listening that are going to be like, okay, what the hell? That was just a giant leap. But I have to say, my husband and I went down there last January. Anybody who listens knows my husband is like the most annoying skeptic in the world. He's not a debunker, but he's very much a skeptic. Right, Byron is actually almost as bad. And we're walking around. We walked onto Bradshaw. We're walking around. We got to see all of these cool places that we'd seen from your videos. And we saw some footprints. Like, my husband grew up in Butte, Montana. Like, he hates hunting, but like his whole family hunts, right? And he knows footprints. They've seen every kind of animal, you know. And I'm like, okay, what the hell is this? And his sister is spent years in Outward Bound and knows every print you could ever find. I took pictures of it and I sent it to her and she's like, how did you make that? And I'm like, no, literally found this here. It makes no sense. And even she, who is like the most level-headed, she was like, I cannot possibly explain that. That makes no sense. So as crazy as some of the things you're saying might sound to some people, even Sam had to admit, like, there is something really weird about that place.
Well, the other thing, too, is I've been able to come to the point where I'm only making claims that I can back up with pictures and videos. So anyone doesn't believe me, they can just look at the videos. You know, that's only the stuff I share is stuff I can back up. So I know how weird it sounds. But it was about 6 years of visiting before I moved here.
Wow.
And it was after I put out the first Hoodoo Tall video. You know, John Lear said that he wished he used the fake name because he lost his job as a pilot when he started talking about UFOs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a job I really liked working at a hospice. I've been there like 6 years.
Oh my.
And after I released Hoodoo Tall, so I don't know, maybe a month afterward, that they just asked me to leave.
Okay, so hold. I
Gave
have
me
to.
a check and said, "Don't talk about what it's like to work here."
I
So
okay. Now all I want to do is ask you what it's like to work there because I feel like the connection between being open to this and helping people through such, whatever you want to look at it as, a transition or an ending, whatever your philosophy is, but like, what a gift. I can't imagine that the patients would have ever said goodbye to you. Like, that must have been really hard for you.
it was. I don't think I've even known how to verbalize kind of the whirlwind I felt from that, but it was. I took it differently.
God.
I took it as, okay, maybe this is what you're supposed to be doing, because
Right.
you know I've always tried to just stay in my lane, but I never felt like life was letting me find my lane. Like, I didn't want anything special out of life. Like, I'm not a special person. I wanted to get married and have a family and spend my summers camping because that's what we did growing up. You know, that's all I wanted to do. And that just seemed impossible. I'm like, how is this so difficult? And then I'm like, I put out a video about UFOs and all these people start watching it. I was like, there's no way. Like, I didn't think anyone would watch it to begin with. And it's like it was humbling and flattering at the same time, but it also motivated me to keep at it. I was like, well, just see. And so when that happened, I thought, try and move. I've been thinking about whether or not I should just move to Sedona and try and figure it out. Okay, will life just I could have taken it as a negative. I was like, life just gave you a pretty effing big hint that you don't belong in California.
Right.
It uprooted me, and said,
fair point.
And oddly enough, the first job I got, so I knew I had to be out here to get a job here. So I took a job as a ranch hand in exchange for rent in a trailer. So I lived in a trailer on a ranch,
oh my
taking
gosh,
care of animals. And I got a job giving ghost hunting tours in Jerome.
oh my gosh, we
And
took that tour when we were up there. That tour was
I
the
did that for
scariest
6
ghost tour
months.
I've ever done. Oh my gosh.
I did every day for 6 months, would spend time with those ghosts. Yeah. And
Whoa.
so it was funny. It was Karen Hill, who's the MUFON investigator in Tucson. She messaged me and she's like, dude, do you realize you went from working in a hospice to ghost hunting? What's next? The reincarnation center? Like, how does the progress to
Right.
this work?
You're just following people along the road. Exactly.
It was pretty funny. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, but the thing that's common to all of it, all jokes aside, is I'm not like a psychology expert, but one thing at this point in my life I feel is really important. The things where you feel the need to present an ego typically means you're not in the right spot. And everything you're talking about is really devoid of ego. And that's a pretty huge common thread, because I don't know that there are a lot of people who actually are able to navigate life that way.
Okay, so you just brought up something that is important if people want to have contact with ETs and Bigfoot.
Oh.
You just nailed it. So throughout all this, let's like start at the most basic description of life as we can get it here. We are souls that incarnate in bodies on lower level planets like this one with amnesia, so that we are given the opportunity through adversity to get rid of insecurities we've built up as baggage over several incarnations. So say we're living on a higher utopian place and we want to go a level even higher, and then we realize we're not allowed to do that. We have these insecurities we've picked up, and so they're like, well, you can get rid of those. You sign a soul contract and go down and get numbed up, and you, like, before you agree to be born, you see every challenge you're gonna go through, and you're like, okay, I can do it. I see what's gonna happen. All right, let's go. And when you're born, you don't remember anything. You're just like completely what's happening. I don't even. And so as we're here, the only goal is to mature our soul, to learn to live with integrity, without envy, no hate, no greed. That's the point. So John, he gave me, throughout his years, John finally found a source of information. This guy named Lou Baldin. And now that John's gone, Lou has a lot of books out, maybe 20. You should read every one. They all make so much sense, and you're going to feel such a sense of relief.
I ordered 3. They're on their way. It's slow because I can't bring myself to order from Amazon, but they're on their way.
But it's amazing stuff. And so Lou has been good enough to also take an interest in me for some reason now that John's gone, and he'll still answer questions for me, and I still have some guidance from him when I need him.
That's awesome.
Ego's one of the things that I was really, really curious about. I couldn't figure out where it played into the formula of this whole Earth program, what's going on. And so finally I was like, I'm just going to ask Lou. Because the funny thing is, I can ask Lou the most complex question and he'll answer me in like one simple sentence. It just makes sense. I'm like, oh, duh.
That's amazing.
So I messaged him. I said, Lou, ego is such a weird thing. I was like, what is it? Like, what's the point of it? And he said, it's the tool. That's all he had to say, and it made sense. So when we come to Earth-level planets, where it's our job to get rid of insecurities, ego is the tool that helps us identify those insecurities. So if our insecurity is about money or greed, what's ego going to try to feed? That insecurity that we have. Ego is the tool. So as you identify insecurities and get rid of them, the tool isn't needed as much.
Wow. Well, so
and that made so much sense to me.
It does. It makes a ton of sense. Yeah. It's like the wall that it's bouncing off of to give you the indication, okay, there's something that needs some work here. Wow.
Right. I've used, when it realized it was a tool, I quickly started using it. I was like, what am I weirdly desiring? Or, what is it
Right.
like when I feel anger or like, why? What's going on? And I would sort it out and be like, oh, stop doing that. Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I have no idea how the soul thing works, but to come into the world with the ability to even ask those questions. I mean, I have people in my life who I love, who even asking a question like that would be such a foreign concept, right? Like,
it is for most people. This isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
By the way, this is disclosure. I mean, disclosure is not going to happen from the government. What are you, nuts? Like,
I totally agree.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Disclosure's been happening forever.
Yeah.
Always. And it happens on a one-on-one basis.
It's a
John
grassroots
gave it to me
campaign.
over a 10-year period.
Yeah. And then you are carrying the torch and talking to so many people.
Trying.
Well, I mean, like I said, a lot of people that I know, and for my husband and I both to come down and see you at Contact and oh my God, you see who that is? It was so exciting because it's one of the things, your channel and the videos you've put out are some of the few things we get really excited to show our daughters because, again, it sounds really cheesy, but it's so pure. It's so without some weird motive behind it or somebody trying to prove something, or it's coming from a place that I think kids identify with more. And I want them to identify with that as long as they possibly can. And it's just a totally different energy than a lot of the other stuff, which I enjoy too, but there's no baggage.
And I've been hearing that. I heard that down at the MUFON meeting too. So I presented 2 hours for MUFON a couple weeks ago in Tucson.
Is there a video of that anywhere? Because I looked. I was trying to find one.
It's coming. She did record the whole thing, and she's going to post it on YouTube. Yeah.
Awesome.
And there were some people afterward that said, because I asked a couple people from the crowd afterward, how did I do? Like, I don't know. I don't know how I did. Like, maybe it was terrible. But I like overloaded them with evidence. Like the first hour I was talking about my relationship with John, and I showed videos of UFOs the entire time I was talking. I was like, you're here to see evidence. Let me show it to you. And so, but the people said that they enjoyed this kind of childlike energy I had toward the subject.
Yes.
That could easily be taken as an insult, but it didn't come across that way, or it didn't take it that way. They meant it in the sense that I was enjoying what I was doing or talking about. It wasn't a chore for me to, like, I didn't practice. I was just like, cool, I'm just going to get up there and just talk about stuff I've done. Like, I don't have a script I'm going by or anything, so there wasn't any pressure. I didn't have to memorize anything.
It's funny because when I'm trying to get to know a new student, the first question I ask them, what are 3 things you could get up and talk about for 20 minutes without any notes or any preparation? 3 things you know that much about, you love that much that you could just ad lib. And I think you really get to learn what, feeds a person that way. I also think it's the English language that says childlike because we don't have enough phrases. I'm sure like in Tibetan, there are 12 different cool words to describe what that is. We just don't have a good enough vocab in English.
But I took it as a compliment because it reminded me of John's behavior. Even as an old man, John was still, we would get excited together. We were like, 2 school kids, skipping school to go throw rocks in the creek. And we would just be like, oh, did you see that? And I don't know. It is fun to me. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. And that,
oddly enough, Lou Baldin recently, I asked him for some insight on what I'm supposed to be doing. I was like, I'm not John Lear. I was like, I enjoy, trying to fill the massive shoes he felt, but I'm not gonna. I don't expect to. I said, Lou, should I even be doing any of this? And he said, well, and this is advice we all need. He said, well, don't forget, you're on Earth. Do Earth stuff. Don't worry about what's everywhere else. You'll get back to all that. You're here to do this stuff here. And then he said, start having more fun. Because I've been really stressed out. I've been letting people get to me and stressed out. And so he said, make sure you have more fun. He said, at the end of this trip, if you didn't have a good time here, you don't get to graduate. Fair enough. I thought I was going to get in trouble for how much fun I'm having. Like, okay, cool.
I like that. And it's, I think that is amazing advice. We need to be following what we're called to rather than what feels like we're supposed to be doing. So that's,
And contact was a good point in us attempting to have fun. I don't know if you saw it when me, Karen, and the remote viewer, Julia, like the height of the party Saturday night, and all of us snuck off to the gym of the hotel to take awkwardly posed photos together.
Oh my God, I missed that entirely. See, that would have been fantastic.
I'll have to send you some of the pictures.
I love
ridiculous.
it. Oh my gosh. See, that is exactly what I'm always looking for, and find myself, the more I'm able to shed in life, the more that just seems to happen. That kind of stuff fills your days more and more. My favorite quote, I have to say, if people are getting you down, my completely boring psychiatrist for 15 years who just retired used to say, you can't learn about yourself from other people. And that's my favorite quote. That's the one that I carry anytime something starts getting to me. It's true. Like, you can learn so much about these people and their baggage and what's going on in their world. You're not going to learn about yourself that way. And there are a lot of people out here who are freaked out or uncomfortable with things that are challenging what they know to be true, or even who are in this field. I feel like the saddest thing about these high strangeness areas are all of the people that have become addicted to their own non-traditional narrative rather than just being here to hear stuff and learn and be curious. And it ends up exactly what it shouldn't be. So I'm sorry you've been dealing with that.
Yeah, that's, I don't expect to be given that many opportunities to present at conferences and things like that, because I'm not making anything up. I'm talking about the evidence I've collected and how I collected it, and that evidence contradicts lies that have been perpetuated for 10 or 15 years at these things by people who have made a name, and it's like, great, I'm not trying to make a name for myself. I'm trying to uncover what's really happening, and whatever I uncover, I'm going to talk about it,
Right. Well,
I'm not into the government stuff. I really don't care about people trying to find out what the government knows. I'm like, I don't think they know that much anyway. Like, leave them and there's that's a rabbit hole that has no end. There's
so true.
Never seen it yield anything.
Right. It's a Mobius strip for sure. You just get stuck there. And like you said, go out on your own. Go do some work and see what's out there. It's certainly been working for you. Yeah, I mean, more recently, obviously, now that you've got your PhD, you're working with additional groups. I feel like there are more people in this space who are acknowledging the work that you've been doing down there. How are you feeling? Has anything shifted on the ground? Are you noticing any changes? Or is it just this time where now more people are waking up to it? And, I know you've got groups down there doing filming, and everybody's going to get to hear more about Bradshaw Ranch, but...
The ranch has gotten more difficult to study now that it's gotten more attention. People are constantly compromising my efforts to connect and communicate out there. I had this one designated area where I'd feed the Bigfoots, and I put a chalkboard up when we'd write to each other. Now people look for it and they just ruin it every time. They just swastikas and their fraternity symbols and everything all over it. So it's like, cool. So that energy itself is going to make them not show up, let alone it interferes with what I'm trying to do. So I've had to move my experiments slightly off the ranch so that people don't find them. And one of the things I built recently was a stone circle, and I'm using it to create a vortex, to create a new place for me and these creatures to connect. So I built the circle, tested with dowsing rods. It was indeed working. The energy there was going in a clockwise formation.
Okay, so you got to explain that a little bit. This is fascinating.
What's
so
that?
How do you set the energy of it? How do you determine? Tell me, dumb it down to an associate's degree level for a second. Tell us, how does that work?
It was way dumber than that. It was, I wonder if this would work. And
That's
I
awesome.
collected the largest stone. So I wanted to use the biggest stones as I could. I set intent with ritual. That's what matters. Doesn't matter how you conduct your ritual. Set your intent first and the effort you put in. So for this, I want to connect with things bigger and more powerful than me. So I wanted to use large stones. I don't have a way to move them. So I thought through frustration, maybe I'll come up with some ingenuity and figure out how to move larger and larger stones. The biggest one I've moved into the circle is probably 250 pounds. That thing was a beast to move. And I don't have any tools. I'm just moving it however I can. And so I made it north, south, east, west were the main points, the largest stones. And then I filled in smaller stones, and I would replace the smaller ones as I find large stones. I'd swap out the smaller ones. I'd mark the winter solstice. And then there was this couple were out here filming with me for their page, and I wanted to show them the stone circle because I hadn't really shown anyone yet. And so the whole thing is on camera, but when we got there, the whole thing had been destroyed.
Oh my
it was
God.
like only a week before the summer solstice.
No.
All the stones were knocked over. Half of them were broken in half. It was like devastating.
Oh my God,
I was
I'm
so
so
bummed out 'cause I
sorry.
put so much effort into it. And then so this summer solstice, a couple days ago, Saturday,
Yeah.
I went out and I was able to reconstruct the circle. I managed to finish like an hour before sunset on the solstice. I was able to place a summer solstice stone, mark the shadow of the pointer, and still have my summer solstice moment. But yeah, it's getting harder because the energy you bring to the ranch is going to determine what phenomena appear. And so if you come in there with this, I'm going to show up and I'm going to figure it out in one trip.
Right.
No, I guarantee you're not going to get anything. Go ahead. I'll watch you from the hillside. Nothing will happen.
Yeah.
You're a jerk.
Yeah.
There's other words I could use. But
No, that's fine.
It just doesn't work. I encourage people to prove me wrong. Go in there with a hunter's mentality and get a picture of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You won't. They won't even show up at all. But if you go in there thinking, oh, I can only say this because this was my approach now. I'm going in there thinking, I feel stupid. These things are much more intelligent than me. Maybe they'll throw me a bone. And I go out asking.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they turn up. The ETs, the non-Bigfoot ETs, Lou Baldin told me how to contact them if I want to. I said, Lou, I think I'm ready for a contact. That was a bold statement.
Yeah, no kidding. That's really huge.
And he said, oh, are you? Okay, I'll tell you how to do it. And so I've tried it twice, both times out here in Sedona, both times in different locations. The first time I did it, I had a friend with me.
Oh, no.
And this guy had never seen a UFO. And we were camping. He wasn't even he was pretty sketchy on even walking out into this meadow with me in the middle of the night. And I was like, come on, maybe we'll see a UFO. That's all I told him. He's like, okay, man, I don't know. But so we're out in this field. I do the process Lou told me to do while we're in the field. And I'm waiting. And suddenly in my head, I hear someone else's voice say, okay, we're here. And they direct my attention to the tree line in the meadow. And they're like, we're right here. Come on over. And I was like, I got excited for a second. And I started to walk in that direction. And I think I made it only 3 steps. And I was at a dead stop. Tears were rushing down my face. And I looked at my friend and I was like, can we please leave the meadow? He looked at me like, what is going on? Yeah, let's go. Let's get out of here. What's happening? And what happened was, as I tried to walk closer to these things, I felt how benevolent they were. And I felt every fly had like a hot burning coal. So obvious. When relative to them, ugh.
Oh my
you
God.
just are like, oh my God, I'm the worst. Yeah, you really become aware of everything that is holding you back, and it's really a knock you down kind
So maybe you can't learn about yourself from other people, but you can learn about yourself from other ETs. Maybe that's the way it works. Oh my God.
All they did was let me have the chance to be aware of my own faults. I learned it from myself. They didn't tell me what was wrong with me.
Wow.
showed up, and in comparison to how pure they are, I was clearly aware of so much about myself.
So I'm sure you've listened to all the interviews with Jake Barber and all the Skywatcher stuff that's out there.
I don't listen to anything.
Are you serious? Right? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. So you don't have time, but if you had time, I would tell you to go listen to the interview that Jake Barber did. Either the one
text me the links from it.
I'm not kidding you. What he just described about and he's like special forces helicopter pilot coming in with a very, very different mentality, right? Like he knows he's approaching this craft that he's supposed to be retrieving. And what he described is as he got within range of whatever this entity was, completely overcome with emotion, bawling his eyes out, like different interpretation of it, right? Because I don't know that, like, there's probably still some ego there that he's not sensing this is like a contrast or this is an opportunity for me to see things. But it was so weird listening to you describe that. It was like a parallel experience. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
So to me, that would suggest that he's being honest, that really happened, because it's such a bizarre thing to claim,
especially when you're like this macho special forces
you're like, I was crying my eyes out.
Right. Well, and that's, I don't know. It's funny that one of my favorite phrases in your dissertation was existential amnesia. Like, I swear to God, I'm going to use that all the time now.
That's the best way I can describe it. So I feel all the time where I'm walking around and I'll have like just this sense of something. It's like something that's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't quite get it. And that's the perfect word, the perfect phrase to describe it. And that's the pattern I'm hearing with people that have these experiences. And I think whatever is beneath that amnesia, I don't know. Byron will laugh at me for saying this, but I feel like I've got a pretty good gut instinct when somebody's full of shit and when they're telling me their truth. Now, whether that's the same truth that everybody else is experiencing, who knows? But I think it's a pretty easy balance for me to understand. And I mean, Jake Barber, I don't know how many coffees or beers I'd want to go and sit and have with him, but I think he's telling the truth. And the story that he explained was so similar to what you just, I mean, it's crazy parallel. That's interesting, yeah. The second time I tried to contact the ETs, I did it alone at the Bradshaw Ranch, in the Bradshaw Ranch house.
Oh, wow.
And I'm telling you, I was pretty terrified. And so I had my cell phone camera on, and I was just holding it like against my chest, which was kind of against the rules, but I knew it wouldn't see anything.
Right, if it wasn't
I just
supposed to.
was afraid. Honestly, I think I was just too afraid to do it without a camera on. Because what Lou said is, if I go to a dark, abandoned place like that, put out the intent, I'm here, I'm ready to meet you, stick your hands out, like open hands out by your sides, and within 10, 15 minutes, an ET will come and hold you by the hand. And I was like, that's like the commercial for a horror movie.
It 100% is.
So that's an intimidating thing to make yourself go do.
Yeah, I'm really impressed.
So I was holding so I was holding my camera, and one showed up, and there's the footage is in Hoodoo Tall 2 episode 1, and so the footage is just black, but you hear the ET walking in a circle around me. And it sounds really big and heavy, almost like it's wearing giant boots of some kind.
Oh my God.
And there's 2 clips of it that I got of it walking around the house around me. And man, that was really scary. But why scared? Like, why? Why should I be afraid? Something to hurt me? I asked it to show up.
Yeah, but you're still a human. You've done a hell of a lot of work, but you're still, DNA is still a human. We're afraid of the things that we totally don't understand, Yeah.
But that's, and I realized that, my only fear is because I don't understand it. And I was like, okay, well, to understand it, I need to encounter it. And it's this odd seesaw I'm on,
But that's why you're able to actually go out there and do it, whereas like 99.9% of people would never be able to like go out there. They wouldn't have enough control over that innate fear to actually get boots on the ground out there. So that's so cool.
I think it's because most people can easily catch a date, get married, and have a family, and at that point you're not going to go looking for UFOs by yourself. I think I was in this weird path in life that kind of just was like, man, until you figure out you need to go walk around the woods looking for UFOs, nothing else is going to happen. Like, I don't know. I'm always trying to Yeah, I don't. It doesn't make sense to me though, but whatever. It's like because I'm feeling like getting to the point where I should ask Lou. I'm like, Lou, I've been trying to do Earth stuff for a long time, so I feel like I can only,
Can you give me some more
the
cliff
Earth
notes
stuff
on
thing
that?
cracks me up. But you know
Yeah.
what's really funny?
Yeah.
Ray Charles, his first hit song was about exactly that. It's called "The Mess Around," and it
Oh, I know
talks
that
about
song really well.
that song is about how everyone on Earth is just messing around. They're not maturing their souls to graduate. They're just going to the barbecue, doing this. They're just doing the mess around. That's what the song is about.
Oh my God.
It's a
I
soul.
mean,
It's a song about our souls.
okay, I can't wait
Yeah,
to listen to that now with a totally different lens. That is so cool.
yeah.
Wow. Did
He
Ray
didn't
Charles
write the
have
song,
like,
but
oh,
still.
okay. I was going to say, wonder if he had any
Yeah, no, he didn't write
experiences.
it. Still did.
Man.
So there's
Well,
been little hints.
yeah, but I do feel like the hints are getting dropped a lot more frequently. And for all of the downsides of like the crazy spread of information, false and true all over the place, everybody's got more access to this kind of stuff. And it's an interesting dichotomy. I hear a lot of people talk about what a bummer it is that, like, people can make deep fake videos that are so convincing at this point. To me, yeah, that really sucks. But I still rely on this idea. Like when I see somebody talk about what they've seen or experienced, it's always been a very gut instinct about whether they've got a video or not. I'm looking at them and I'm trying to see what their experience is. And I feel like I can sense pretty quickly, yeah, whether that picture is crystal clear or fuzzy as hell, I know they're telling the truth. Or, wow, they've got some weird other motive going on here and it isn't true. So for me, I think it's nice because in some ways it levels the playing field. And now people are going to have to rely on something else other than, for so long, it's been like, I want to see a perfect picture. I want this, right? And at the end of the day, I actually don't think any picture ever would have met the needs of the people who need to see that. It's going to have to be personal experiences. And I think more and more people are going to be able to have those given, the information that's coming out right now.
And that's one of the things I've always tried to say when I have a chance to speak on the subject is exactly that. Like, if you are into the subject, make your next trip to Sedona and go on a night vision UFO tour and you will see UFOs. Like, every time, you'll see them every time. Because there's nothing like seeing them. Like,
Do you
I've
think
seen
there's actually a base there? I mean,
thousands and
obviously,
thousands and it doesn't get old.
the theory is that there's
What
a
was that?
base there, right? Do you think that there's a base there? Is that your belief? I know you don't get into the government stuff, but
Well, John and I talked about government stuff for a long time. So he had shown me enough and we'd seen enough to realize there's underground facilities all over the US and probably the world because it just makes more sense. Why would you put it on the surface?
right,
If it's,
right.
John had pictures that he'd showed me of the maglev trains that connect these underground bases. So like the train that runs from, Area 51 out to the Sandia mountain range in New Mexico and all these other places. And the cool thing about those tunnels is the machine they use to cut those holes, it vitrifies the stone as it cuts them. So it's like burning it somehow. In the pictures, the tunnels look like glass. Like you can tell they're rock.
Yep.
They look like shiny like glass.
I nerded out and
So
looked at the patent
sure,
for that.
but
Yeah. It's real.
There's underground military facilities all over the place because why wouldn't there be? I've never seen anything to suggest that out here. I know people, this field is full of people that are constantly looking for a reason to get attention. So, I've seen people put together unverified stories and accounts to try and sell the idea, and I just keep waiting for any evidence. I'm like that with anyone. Can you back up what you're claiming? No, and then I'm not that interested in what you're claiming. It's fine. I've seen a full-size armored military off-road vehicle with a 50 cal machine gun mounted on the roof, being escorted by 4 police cars, turn off the highway onto the dirt road that leads to the Bradshaw Ranch. Saw it with my own eyes.
How
However,
long
that dirt
ago?
road leads to a lot of places out there. It doesn't just lead to the ranch. And the military do a lot of training in desert, hot, mountain. That's how they train.
Right. It's true.
So I'm sure they train out here. There's people that are claiming, like, I was walking around and heard gunshots. I'm like, probably. I mean, it's Arizona. Like, everyone out here's got a gun. We all go shooting out in the desert out here all the time. It's not weird.
Yep, Montana's
It doesn't
the
mean
same
the
way.
government was shooting at you
Right.
because there's an underground. Like, no.
Yeah.
That's why the field is laughed at so much, because you have people just trying to string together anything they can just so someone will listen to them talk, and it's like, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you the cement? Is it the cement factory or something?
Cement
else?
factory.
Yeah.
That's pretty weird.
You've seen weird stuff connected with that at all?
No.
No.
I know. I was on the mountain with Jerome every day looking down at the cement plant.
Yeah.
I've talked to some people. I've heard one guy say that his friend didn't hear it directly. It's always
A friend.
Someone told someone
Yeah.
that there is a entrance to a tunnel at the cement plant. I mean, honestly, all of it. So just the town of Jerome has 88 miles of tunnels under it. I used to give history tours there.
Yep.
So this whole valley was inundated with mining claims and operations. There are tunnels everywhere out here from old mining claims.
Yeah.
Just because there's a tunnel does not mean it's a hidden underground military establishment. It's a tunnel.
Right.
So you need to do more than before you make this big announcement that's based on circumstantial things.
Yeah.
So the cement plant is owned by what? Martin Company. That Martin Company, they're gigantic. They own so much stuff. They own so much that they bought Lockheed and made them Lockheed Martin. So it isn't that.
Oh, I didn't
Lockheed
realize
Martin
there was a
owns cement
connection.
plant.
Oh God, I didn't know
It's
that.
a giant umbrella company, Martin, that owns a lot of construction things, owns a cement plant out here.
Right.
That does not mean Lockheed Martin is associated to it. It means that Martin owns a cement plant out here.
Right. Right.
I would love to find more out, but I've looked through it all, and that's the basis of the truth I've seen.
Got it.
There are reports, but nothing that can be substantiated yet. So, hopefully somebody puts effort into it and can get some results on that place, but there aren't any right now. Yeah.
So with the Bradshaw Ranch, obviously with people, it bums me out so much to hear people coming down and actually destroying stuff there. Like, man, you think humans are taking a step forward, and then, so are you, I mean, like, I don't even know what the radius is that you think stuff is happening in around the ranch. Like, is there space for you to move into to continue observing and doing?
Yeah, it doesn't actually matter.
Okay.
The ranch house was just built. So people ask the question, why is this happening on these ranches, right? Like Skinwalker Ranch. I think, why these ranches? And I'm like, because they build ranches out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
I mean, that's why it's happening on ranches, because they're not in the city. Like,
yeah.
It's not that mysterious.
Right.
It's an 8-9 mile dirt road drive, and then suddenly you're at the Bradshaw Ranch.
Yeah.
And I only found the ranch because I was trying to figure out why the Bigfoots were harassing me on my trips to Sedona. Didn't even know about the place. Nobody knew about the place. When I came here, and I was into this subject, John and I looked up all kinds of mysterious places. I found the ranch because every time I came, after my first contact with Bigfoot, every time I came, they would come through and harass me in some form or another. And I was like, what is going on? Finally, I looked it up, saw reports. I know I found a video on YouTube of Tom Dongo out of 20 years ago presenting for MUFON. It only had like a couple thousand views. And there is Tom showing his evidence of the pictures he got at the ranch. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. All that came from one place. I got to see this place. Couldn't find it. Became friends with Tom. He told me how to get there. But that's
so cool.
I like it because it's an easy destination. Like, the ranch, cool. I go there. There's 10 other places I've had encounters out here. I don't even know how to describe them to you. That Dry Creek 6 mile, it's a centralized location that kind of makes it easy. But I don't think there's anything special about the property other than it's within this 10-mile radius where a lot of stuff happens, and it's built out in the middle of nowhere more so than in town. Nothing happened on that ranch until Linda Bradshaw moved there. Nothing weird happened.
Like during the filmings and stuff back in
Yeah, for 40 years, nothing happened.
Huh.
Linda moved there, and then all this stuff happened. And then so I was, when I first inquired to Tom about me going to the ranch, he said there's no point. There's nothing happening out there anymore. It's been dead for years. And when I started going there, I was like, well, it's not. So I don't know what you think, but there's a lot going on out there. I don't even know what to think about this.
Why did he think it was dead?
Part of the reason I made the first Hoodoo Tall video was because I thought I needed help. Nobody knew about the ranch. Nobody was talking about it. Nobody was putting effort into it. And I was like, maybe if I can show what's happening out here, other people will help me investigate. So it's partially my fault that my stuff's getting wrecked, because I wanted to make it a place people helped me, but I wanted professional people, not.
No, I don't think it's your fault. You never asked for somebody to come destroy shit, I'm pretty sure. So I don't think that's your fault.
Yeah. But I think I'd played a part in making it more of a destination, which I'm not sure was a good thing. I mean, it might get shut down at some point, but if it does, it doesn't matter. I'll just go 100 yards the other way and I'll still have the same thing.
So, I guess people listening and interested in what you're doing, maybe a handful of people may be exploring down in that area. Do you have any tips for respectful? It's like, kind of reminds me of I don't know if you've seen those videos, tour-ons of Yellowstone, people going up to the elk and like trying to get pictures 6 inches away from the elk, right? So it reminds me of that, just with, other types of creatures and things going on. So what would you say, if you're going to go visit, what are some parameters you'd suggest following, to other than not breaking the stuff that's out there?
Yeah, it's treat the ranch as a school. That's what Linda thought it was, and I had a medium out there, and I'm all into people that claim they have superpowers and all kinds of stuff. Rarely does that person ever showcase the abilities they claim to have, but this woman, she is something. I've heard a lot of people say they're mediums, but man, we were walking around the ranch that day and she was calling out things that she had no business knowing, even about me and the ranch personally, and she was saying it. And I was like, oh, wow. And then later into the evening, she said she had the opportunity to channel the Bigfoots.
Oh,
and asked me if she wanted me to. I said, yes. Now that footage is at the end of Hoodoo Tall 2, episode 2. It's her standing there channeling the Bigfoots. And she brings that up too, that the ranch was supposed to be a school, supposed to be a place to learn. If you take it that way, there's a good chance something will happen when you go out there. Because not the school bully, a good student at school.
Right. Good point.
Yeah, and I'm always willing to, take that first step with people. I always encourage people, if they're coming out here, shoot me a message on Instagram and let me know when you're gonna be here, and we'll go out there together. It's not, it's a weird place to be the first few times you go. I had to go 4 or 5 times during the day before I felt comfortable going at night. Yeah. And it's not because it's dangerous. It's because when you're there, there's things watching you and you can't see them. It's weird.
Real weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there in the broad daylight and it was weird as shit. Like,
yeah, isn't it? Not
totally
the strangest feeling there? Like
a completely different feeling. I mean, it's really hard to even describe, but there was something there that I've never felt anywhere else. It was
so we measured. I got a scientist, and he made these devices so we could measure there, and we gathered data. And he made one device that detects electrical discharges coming out of the earth. And we measured on the ranch, and we were getting measurements as strong as if lightning was striking nearby. And this is during the middle of the day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So there's a geological effect happening there. And I've been trying to uncover that to see if that's what helps the phenomena manifest there. Is there something in the earth? And the readings we've been getting on the ranch are just ridiculous. Like, he has a magnetometer we used, and believe it or not, the strongest vortex in all of Sedona is the windmill at the ranch. because this guy's measured the Sedona vortexes for 20 years. He has data on all of them. And
Oh.
the readings we got at the windmill blew them all out of the water. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. Wow.
So there is something geologically to it as well. And I think that we can feel that. And I think women feel it more. Through this, especially living in a world of metaphysical science now, I meet a lot of people in the field of being psychics and mediums. And you know what they never are? Men. Why?
Well, us women had to do something else while white males were taking over everything, right? We had to occupy ourselves. So
I do stand with the witches against the patriarchy. Absolutely.
I get that sense already.
Well, I found out why. It's because women have more magnetite in their inner ear fluid than men. And magnetite is magnetic. You do pick up on things more than men do.
Oh my gosh. I did not know that. Okay.
That was what I learned, and I was like, oh, that would make sense.
That checks out.
I was like, yeah. Wow. Women's intuition is probably due to that.
It's a real thing. I can't wait to reference that the next time somebody questions me.
Yeah, now you can never be wrong.
I'm absolutely noting that. Yeah, you bet.
I mean, with your spouse, you can always be like, this
he already knows that. No, we've been together long enough. He knows that. That's already on record, so we're good. He has two. Yeah, he's very much outnumbered. 2 daughters, and he's got dogs, but that's all. That's the only male energy he's got in the house. So.
By the way,
yeah,
when I got back from contact in the desert, I did mention to someone about you guys and about how flattered I was by what you had said to me about that you had shown the videos to your kids. And I don't remember the exact words you used, but it's something about like, this is an example of somebody who's like doing what they're passionate about. It was something like that.
Yeah.
And that sat with me for quite a long time because I feel like that's quite a good lesson to give, and it's not a lesson I was trying to give. I was, so it was really it meant a lot because wasn't trying to do that.
Yeah, I feel like
to have a bonus positive side effect,
The best things come from people who aren't trying to do that. I mean, it's kind of like you said at the beginning of the interview. I'm not a special person. I think says every truly special person who's ever lived. Like, I think the most special among us are the ones who are not in that mindset. That's not their motivation, and it's really a detachment from ego to operate without that. But I think what you're doing is really special, and it's true. I don't think there are many people we can point to who are doing and following what their heart is telling them to do. And that's the most we could all hope to do.
There's all these people in this field that are they announce themselves as an expert, and they're all insisting that they're a somebody. And I'm just gonna take the role of the nobody who just has a bunch of stuff to show you that can, I'm only gonna speak because I have pictures and videos to explain. And maybe the nobody is a better person to get that from than a somebody.
I mean, based on my experience so far, I don't know what recycle I'm on right now, but whatever one I'm on from getting spit back here, that's what my gut tells me. The people who aren't screaming from the rooftops, who are doing things because they're curious and genuine, those are the ones I want to listen to. So I know you've got a ton going on tomorrow. I really could talk to you for like 15 hours, but
we're going to have to do it again because it is so easy to do, and there's a bunch of stuff to talk about, and it's just plenty of value in doing it.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything you're doing down there. At some point, we'd love to know if there are things people from afar can do to help you out with what you're doing. I know you don't have like a GoFundMe up or something, but you're doing good work.
Well, this year actually. I am launching my Baby Raven brand this year as a foundation. It'll be the Baby Raven Foundation. And so when you buy a hat or buy a hoodie, the money goes to supporting this kind of research.
Oh, I love that.
I'm going to make the effort to make this something more legitimate. Like, let's collect evidence, make a place where we can share it, you know, and be able to fund it. And that way, you know, when, like, I love baseball hats, but I don't like baseball. So I don't want to wear a Dodgers hat, but and so when I wear my hat of my Baby Raven logo, to me it's like, no, it's a logo for people who are into this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so setting it up as a foundation now, if somebody buys a hat, that's actually a donation and you got a hat and you are part of it. You are supporting it. You know, you're on the team. Yeah, I think it'll be a lot better that way.
Oh, that's incredible. Please keep us posted. Hopefully we'll talk to you again before that launches, because that's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good luck tomorrow. So excited about everything you're doing. And thank you for taking time.
So we're going to shoot about 48 hours straight.
Oh, my God.
They're bringing about $100,000 worth of tech. We're going to set up at the ranch. With their tech, we have Wi-Fi and everything at the ranch.
Oh my God.
And we are filming straight. They're bringing a crew of 7 to 9. The crew's going to take shifts. Some stay at the hotel. You're off shift, you're on shift. And we're going to keep it going the whole weekend. So I don't know how gnarly this is going to get, but Longhorn Paranormal crew, they're going to help me try to get evidence with tech I didn't have.
Well, now you're going to have to prep everybody before they go on site, make sure that they're coming in with the right intention, because otherwise it could be 48 hours.
Not many of them are even going to attempt to walk into the ranch. They're like, yeah, right. Like, we'll be at the gate.
Oh my gosh. Why would you miss that? Yeah. So cool. Oh my gosh. Well, good luck. We'll be in touch for sure, and hopefully we can chat again soon.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Jurgen. Have an awesome evening. Good luck tomorrow.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to an Audio Wool original, produced by Byron McCoy. Theme music is provided by Yawns. For more programs like this, visit audiowool.co.